Hi, welcome back to Life Skills with Road Retreat. I'm Chad, I'm the Executive Director, and this week we're talking about vehicles, cars, which is a really big deal when you start putting your life back together. You know, one of the mistakes we made early on was thinking, well, homeless people don't have cars, so we don't need to have parking lots. That's one of the things we did wrong at Hope Village is we didn't add enough parking, thinking the people weren't going to get cars. But getting a car is a sign of progression and moving forward. And that's really true for all of our people at Road Retreat. We noticed in our apartments that we move somebody in, pretty soon there's a car. Sometimes there's two if there's two or three people in the family. And so I just want to, I know we're going to talk a little bit about how to fund that and what we need to do to look for cars. One of the things I can just say from personal experience, some of these car lots around Medford aren't really there to help you, they're there to hurt you. And so when you're looking and you have low credit, you might want to really work on your credit before you go down and get a car. And I think we're going to talk a little bit about that because you'll get these high interest rates and it's just going to be killers. And we don't want that to happen to you. One of the places in town that's noted for being really famous is actually really famous for ripping you off. So you want to make sure you get some good advice when you're going out looking for a car. Don't take the first deal that looks good. And sometimes a name brand car like maybe a BMW or some of these high-end cars, and you think, oh, I can get it for a good price. Remember that might take a whole lot of money to fix those. Sometimes your American domestic cars are a lot easier to fix instead of a foreign car, depending on parts and things. So you want to get some advice and do some good things and make sure you don't get yourself into kind of a money trap. But we are excited about you getting a vehicle because that makes you more mobile and makes you able to get to jobs and take care of your family. And we really want to support that any way we can. See you next week.
My name is Albert Gill, owner of AG Auto and Repair. I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about purchasing and maintaining a vehicle. Obviously, it's a big decision in a lot of people's lives to own a vehicle, and it's a critical part of proceeding through your life and the journey that you may be on to get to a different place than where you started. How it works most generally is you find a vehicle that's in your price range and you want to look that vehicle over and you want to maintain or buy that vehicle. But in the process of that, you need to make sure that the vehicle is safe, dependable, and worth the value that you're putting out. You know, because your hard-earned money is really important for everyone, and not just in this situation, but for every situation. So there's a process that I like to follow when I'm looking at buying vehicles, because I do purchase several vehicles a year, and I just start with the motor and checking the oil and making sure there's no discoloration in the oil. Has it been changed frequently? I always look at the transmission fluid if it's an automatic, and smell that, because there is an odor to the transmission fluid. It's a burnt smell that you want to look for. You always want to look for leaks. You always want to listen for noises. You always want to make sure that the car isn't shimmying, going up to at highway speeds. There's just tons and tons and stuff about all that. Now, that's not how I always did things in my life. A little bit about me is I started this journey owning a business and working the job that I have 22 years ago when I went through drug treatment. And I got clean, and I just started working on cars to try to maintain a lifestyle that I'd never been able to achieve before getting clean. I started pumping gas at the job that I have now, which put me in contact with a lot of vehicles. During that transition in my life, I learned to look for the things that needed to be addressed in a vehicle. And again, as a gas station attendant, you have constant, I can't think of the word. Yeah, you have constant accessibility to vehicles. So again, after the purchase is made, it's critical, especially in the newer vehicles, that you maintain the vehicle. The mileage intervals for transmission and coolant and oil changes is critical to adhere to. It's okay if you go a little bit over, but you can't run a car for 10,000 or 15,000 miles on an oil change anymore, because there's sensors and timing components that are all oil pressure related, and they continue, if you continue to run the same oil, that it will damage the vehicle beyond repair, or beyond minimal repair. It will be very expensive. We offer at my business, AG Auto and Repair, we offer inspections, and most generally that's about an $85 inspection, and we go through the majority of them situations to identify if there's potential problems. We don't have a crystal ball. None of us have a crystal ball, and it's impossible to see the future on every situation. But it's critical to do your due diligence with that and make sure that when you're purchasing or getting ready to purchase, that you monitor everything and look through the vehicle and see if it's seems maintainable. All of the processes in the vehicle. I can go into some of the stories that I have. We just recently changed heater core to the tune of about $1,100 in a vehicle that had never had the coolant system flushed. Had they done a coolant system flush for $150 every 20 to 30,000 miles, they would have avoided that $1,100 repair in one situation. Transmissions are another situation that they have to be addressed every 70,000 or so. You should change your transmission fluid. That's on the high end in some applications and on the low end in some other applications. So that's an average of 70,000. Oil changes $3,000 to $5,000. For the $30 to $40 that you spend changing your oil, you could potentially save thousands in timing chain and timing chain tensioner and main bearing and rod bearing and piston clearances and camshafts. That stuff is critical, and that is the lifeline, the lifeblood of the engine is the motor oil. It needs to be maintained. Brakes and shocks and struts and wheel bearings and all that other stuff is kind of on an needed basis. When that needs to be done, the car will allow you to know that. It'll make the noises necessary for you to identify what you need to have done in them situations. Tires are constant consumable part on a vehicle that need to be addressed. They help the vehicle get grip in bad weather situations. Not to mention they just make the car drive nicer with road noise and what have you. The rest of the car is, again, the interior and the windows and doors closing and opening correctly. All that stuff makes a difference in the functionality of the car. There's vehicles out there that are in high demand. The Honda Accords, the Toyota Camrys, some of the Hyundais are getting pretty good. There's if you're looking for pickups, there's always the Chevrolet pickups. All of the pickups, Chevy, Fords, Dodges, are all pretty good options. Most cars these days are built to last at least a couple 100,000 miles, and if you find one that's at 200,000 miles and it has been properly maintained, it could go another 200,000 miles. That's just the way that it is. It's critical that you find the ones that have been properly maintained, and they're out there. You have to be kind of quick, because there's people like me out there that look for these deals, and if they are cheap enough, then I'll buy them up and fix them up, and I'll sell them to people that need a good car. And gratefully, through the years, I've found a balance in the need to make a little bit of money and the need to give back to my community. And my community is the Rogue Retreat community and the communities that are trying to get back on their feet, because that's where I started. I started in this situation, and I've been blessed to be able to continually give back through jobs at my full-time job. I've got a couple of recovering addicts working for me at my shop, and I continually try to do the right thing. And for what I mean by that is when I'm able to purchase a vehicle, one of these that needs a little bit of work, I find a way to get that vehicle. I do the work to it, and then I try to pass that along to the next person in a loving and kind, generous way. And it's really paid off for me personally. I get to feel good about helping other people that may be first starting out, or their first car purchase, or sometimes just getting back into life in that general direction of doing the right thing. Kind of covered the car purchasing and what to look for. What I can tell you about my story is I started the job that I have currently 22 years ago, fresh out of drug treatment. I got my first job on this journey of being clean, and I've been able to maintain sobriety and clean time for the last 22 years by following the program of Narcotics Anonymous. That's the one that I choose to go to. There's many different ways you can get and maintain recovery, but what's worked for me is I have a power greater than myself that's working in this universe, and as long as I maintain my clean time, I get to enjoy on a daily basis the freedom that the program of Narcotics Anonymous offers, and that's freedom from active addiction. The only promise that is offered is freedom from active addiction. However, through this journey, I've been blessed in so many other ways, financially and with a family, and with a relationship with a power greater than myself, and with the relationships repaired from some grown daughters that had to live through my disease and my non-existence in their lives. I continually build on them relationships. I can probably count on one hand how many relationships in the 22 years I've been clean have failed. That is not the case for before I got clean. I constantly had falling outs with people, and it didn't matter what situation and what my motive was going into a situation. When I was getting loaded, it would not turn out the way that I expected it to. I've been cured from hepatitis C since I've been clean. I haven't gone to jail after 32 arrests in this county prior to my getting clean. I just have a life that I never dreamt of. I have a race car that I always used to sit outside the racetrack when I was high as a kite, dreaming and talking about being able to go out there and doing it, and I've been doing it now for a long time. A beautiful brand new race car, and beautiful brand new trailer, and a beautiful 10-year-old son, and a beautiful home, and a wonderful business, and a wonderful job, and I just cannot show my gratitude with words on how grateful I am for the program of Narcotics Anonymous and the ability to stay clean and be a productive member of society. I just cannot fathom going backwards anymore.
One common misconception with the COVID-19 vaccine is that you can stop taking those safety measures. You don't have to wear your mask anymore. You don't have to social distance, and that's not true. And it's important that even after you get the vaccine, because we're reaching that point that a lot of people are able to get it now, that even after you get that vaccine, you're still being safe. You're still making sure that you're not spreading it to other people. You're wearing your mask and social distancing. I know a lot of times it's hard to avoid those groups of people, especially in our programs if you're in the shelter or at the campground or anything like that. But it's important we still do our best to try to do that to help prevent the spread of COVID, as we don't know yet whether the vaccine can actually stop you from spreading COVID to other people or if it just stops you from getting sick yourself. That's still under evaluation. We hope that it can stop the spread, but for now, we still, even after you're vaccinated and if you're around people that have had the vaccine, you still need to keep wearing your mask, keep social distancing, and keep staying safe.
Hi, my name is Rhonda, and I'm originally from California, and I just came here to Oregon about 2 months ago. I came homeless. I drove all the way from California over here, and I heard of a program called the Tiny Home Program, and I came and I applied for it on a Monday, and by Thursday I was already approved and moved in. I have a very amazing caseworker. Her name is Terry, and she's helping me learn all the resources here in Oregon. She's helping me with maintaining my birth certificate, things that people don't have, like your ID, your social security card, and also managing your money, saving your money. And I was very blessed to get into this tiny home program here at Rogue Retreat. And basically, I'm here to just learn and move forward in life with the resources that they have to offer me. If you're looking for somewhere to get on your feet, the Rogue Retreat program is definitely the place to be, because not only are you're getting housing, but they're helping you get your Medi-Cal, OHP, your food stamps, and so on and so forth. So it's a place for you to go and know that you're safe, so you can have somewhere to lay your head at night.
Well, thank you for watching this episode of Life Skills. A couple things I just want to add on to the end of it. It can be really hard looking for a car if you're at that point yet. Maybe you're not there yet, but you can save this video and refer back to it, and it's up on YouTube and it'll be here. But here's a couple of little things that I can talk from my personal experience. If you're buying a car from a dealership or just from a private party, make sure you get it checked out by a mechanic. I know Albert Gill said that his shop checks cars out, and you can go to any shop and it's not that expensive, and it's definitely worth the extra cost that it'll be for that security of knowing that you're getting a good car. I've bought cars before and had that done, and I've bought cars and not had it done, and every time I haven't had it done, I've regretted it. I've had to pay extra repair bills that even if I was still going to buy the car, I would have been able to use that in the negotiations and get the price of the car down a little bit more so that it fit in my budget better and I didn't have to strain my budget. When you're looking at what kind of car to buy, I recommend Honda Civics, Toyota Corollas, that kind of vehicle, that those smaller sedans that just keep driving. And it's okay to get an older car, and it's okay to get a car with some mileage on it as long as it's sound under the hood. The things that you can concede on when you're getting a car is the look of it. You don't need the best color, the best paint. I would honestly recommend, if you're trying to get a car for a good deal and if you only have a certain amount of money, try to get a car that has bad paint. Try to get a car that's been in some fender benders, and not anything too bad. You don't want something that the frame could be messed up, but if there's some dents on the side, someone's opened the door into a pole or something like that, that can be a great way that you can get a better car for a little bit cheaper price. And I've done that before when I've looked at cars, and as nice as it can be to want to get, like Chad mentioned, how a BMW or something like that can seem like a great car, the repair bills are going to be more expensive on that, and a lot of times you're going to just have more mechanical problems because you're finding a car that's a nicer car than your budget, that's in your budget, where if you find a car that the engine is in your budget but the look of it is maybe a little bit not as good, then you're able to really find a good vehicle. And don't forget, when you're buying a car, that a lot of times you are going to have to register it and title it and that kind of thing. So be careful that you don't spend all your money on the car and then not have money to get it insured or to get it titled, because then you just have a car sitting there that you're not really able to use, and it's tempting to then still use it, but you can get yourself into a lot of trouble and end up losing your car and get back to where you started. So that's not what we recommend to do. We really want you to be successful and to get that good transportation. And if you're not at that point yet, the bus is a great option for transportation, a bicycle. There's a lot of great ways. Medford's a great area to be able to get around without having a vehicle. But once you're ready to have a car, and if you decide that's the right route for you to go down, I think this episode of Life Skills can be really great to refer back to. So it'll be here on the YouTube channel for Rogue Retreat. If you just search Rogue Retreat, life skills, you'll be able to find all of the episodes. So if you have an episode that you liked before that you want to go back and check out and find some information, you can find it that way. We appreciate you tuning in and watching this episode all the way through. Don't forget that you'll probably need to talk about this episode with your case manager, so as you went through, kind of keep some mental notes, because I'm sure they'll be asking you about it and seeing what you learned. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.